All right, guys, we are making the French bread pizza. So let's talk about what we need. I have already washed my hands, so I've got my loaf of fresh French bread. Okay. You could use like a frozen garlic bread out of the freezer section at the store. You could use day old bread. You could use baguette, which is a little bit more round and a little crunchier. Really, you can use just about anything. I like the French bread just because it is kind of like flatter, and so it gives you a nice big surface area to use for pizza. Okay. I got a jar of pizza sauce. Easy peasy, right? And it doesn't have to be pizza sauce. You could use a jar of spaghetti sauce. You could use Alfredo sauce. You could use pesto. You could use whatever you like as your base. Okay. I've got some shredded mozzarella cheese. Okay, I've got some pepperonis. You could use Italian sausage. You could use ham, chicken, ground beef, whatever you got lying around. And then some toppings for my pizza. My family, we like bell peppers. And I have, these are Kalamata olives because we are currently out of black olives. So Kalamata olives are actually kind of a purple olive. They're a Greek olive. I'll show them to you. They're a little saltier and brinier than black olives. So behind me, I've got my oven. It is at 500 degrees, which is a broil. Okay, so what that means is that only the top heating element in my oven, so this part right up here, is on. And I have a gas oven, so there's actually a flame that's in my oven right now across the roof, okay, of my oven. I've got a rimmed baking sheet, and I have a mat on it. You can line it with parchment or aluminum foil, something like that, so that you don't have as much cleanup. Okay, so I'm going to open up my loaf of French bread. I'm going to show you how we're going to get this ready. Okay. So let's come over here and look at my cutting board. Okay. So here's my French bread. I am using a serrated knife. Okay. You can see it's got the little teeth. That's a serrated knife. All right. I'm going to take this and I'm actually just going to cut down my bread this way. Okay. So what I do, I'm right-handed. So I'm going to work from right to left. All right. And I'm just going to cut right down the middle of my loaf. Now, if we were doing this in the classroom, each group would actually get a fourth of a loaf. So if we were doing this at school, I would take this and I would cut it in half like I just did, okay? And then I would cut it again in half this way, okay? But since we're not doing that, I'm doing this at my house. I am not going to do that. This piece is actually a little uneven, so I'm just going to slice this unevenness off so it's a little more level. There we go. Okay. All right. And then this piece, I don't know where the bag is. This piece I will use at school for you guys for tasters tomorrow. Okay. So there we go. I've got my bread. I'm going to put this on my pan behind me, and I'm going to actually toast it in the oven. So the reason that I toast this before I put any toppings on it, okay, is this is bread. It's soft, okay, it's moist, and if I start putting more wet stuff on a moist piece of bread, it's just going to get soggy, okay? So I'm going to take my bread, open my oven, I open it all the way so that my hands, it's not going to risk snapping back on me, all right? And then I put this under the oven. I'm actually going to turn it so it's broiling in line with my flame. Okay. When you broil, you actually want to leave the oven open. Your oven should have kind of like a catch on it where the door doesn't shut all the way. Okay. So while that is toasting, we're only going to have that toast for a few minutes. I'm going to set a timer here. Okay. I'm going to do 2 minutes and we'll check it after 2 minutes. Okay. So while that is toasting, I'm going to go ahead and get my toppings ready. I'm going to clean the crumbs off my cutting board here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my bell pepper. Okay. All right. You might say, Mrs. Madwood, why are you cutting your bell pepper that way? Well, for a couple reasons. It gives me much flatter pieces. Okay. And it leaves all the inside parts of the bell pepper out of the way. Okay. So then from there, I can just slice down into nice little thin strips. I could dice it up from there if I wanted to. But we like bell peppers, so I don't need to make them any smaller for my house. We will eat them nice and chunky like that. Okay. A couple little funky shapes there on the edge. All right. You guys can see when I'm cutting, I'm using my claw, right? My hand is staying back away from my knife, okay? And I'm rocking my knife, okay? Just like we talked about, like the motion of the ocean, okay? My knife rocks along, and that makes nice, beautiful cuts, okay? There's my bell pepper. All right, my olives. Woo, perfect. Okay, so I did 2 minutes on my bread. It is definitely golden. I'm gonna flip it around and just do the back half here for just a minute. I don't even wanna close my oven. Okay, just want that back half to get a little toasted. All right, so you guys can see, I'm just toasting the back half of the bread. All right, that's all I need.
Mama, guess what?
So I'm going to close my oven.
Mama, guess what?
I'm recording a video, Teddy.
I'm watching the new pot.
All right, so now I've got my bell peppers. My bread is toasted. I'm gonna get my olives ready. Okay. So here are my olives. Let me grab a spoon. Okay. So you can see Kalamatas are actually kind of a purple color. They're long and skinny. They're just another type of olive. These are a Greek olive. I really enjoy them. They're very, very salty. So if you like briny, salty foods, Kalamatas would be a good olive for you. They're like saltier than green olives. So if you like the saltiness of green olives, you would probably like Kalamatas. Okay, so I'm just cutting these into rings. Okay. Now, when you're picking pizza toppings, okay, you want to pick things either that are going to all cook at the same rate or that you don't mind being at different stages of doneness, okay? So like my bell peppers, okay, because they are raw, all right, they are not going to get as done unless I cut them super, super thin, which I did not. Okay, so they're still going to have some crunchy raw bite to them, which I like. If you don't like that, you might want to consider cooking your vegetables beforehand. If I was going to put mushrooms on this pizza, I would cook them before I put them on the pizza because I'm not really a fan of raw mushrooms on pizza. So I would probably saute my mushrooms before I put them on a pizza. With your meats, okay, pepperoni is a cured meat, so pepperoni is actually already cooked. So I don't have to worry about those pepperonis. I could eat them just like that out of the package and they'd be good to go. If I was going to do, say, like Italian sausage, I would either have to break it into very, very small pieces, like the size of a pea, okay, very, very small, or pre-cook it and then put it on. Same with ground beef. Chicken, I could use pre-cooked chicken, but if it's raw, I need to cook that chicken before I put it on the pizza. Same with bacon. If you want to put bacon on your pizza, cook it and then put it on the pizza, okay? So I'm going to get everything ready to go on my pizza now because my crust is over here waiting for me. So again, we toasted the crust so that it would not absorb all of the sauce. We don't want a soggy piece of bread, okay? So I've got my pepperonis, got my pizza sauce, okay? You can use a couple different things. I have a brush here at home, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my brush. But with your sauce, if you're doing this on a small piece, it's about 1/4 of a cup. But really you can make this to your liking, okay? So I'm just gonna put a couple spoonfuls on and spread it around and see how I like it before I add any more. So there we go, just a couple spoonfuls. All right, you guys can see, okay, a couple spoonfuls. And then I'm just going to take my brush and brush it on. You can use the back of a spoon. You can use a rubber scraper. Okay, any of that would work. A knife sometimes is a little bit harder just because it's a flat object, and typically the bread's not overly flat. You also don't want to put on so much sauce that all your toppings slide off. Okay, that's a really common mistake when I make this with students is they put a ton of sauce on. And then all their toppings won't stick because the sauce is so wet. Okay, so just remember that, guys. Too much sauce means your toppings will not stick. And if you really like a saucy pizza, you can always put some sauce on the side and then dip your pizza in it when it's done. All right, so there we go. Sauce on the pizza. All right, I'm gonna get my mozzarella. Did you know mozzarella has no T's in it? I always get kids want to spell it with T's, but it's M-O-Z-Z. Mozzarella. No T's in mozzarella. Okay. There we go. Again, do not over cheese the pizza because it'll get so like loose that nothing will stick. Okay. So I always start just down the middle of the pizza. Okay. And then kind of spread it out from there. That way I'm not wasting cheese. It's not falling off the side. Okay. I can adjust the cheese, okay, from the middle. So I just usually put it all in the middle and then pull it out to the sides as I need it. Okay. I really love doing pizza like this because you can use whatever you have at home. You could even use just a piece of sandwich bread. Pop it in a toaster, okay, and then put your toppings on it. If you don't want to use the oven alone, you could, after you do that, you could pop it in the microwave for just a few seconds to warm it up, but the toaster would have gotten the bottom nice and crispy for you. So you definitely have options doing something like this. Okay, if you have a toaster oven, a little, or you can even do it in the air fryer, if you have an air fryer at your house, okay, all of that would work. Okay, so next thing I'm going to put on is actually my vegetables, and then I'm going to put my pepperonis on top. Because the pepperonis are a meat and they have fat, that fat's going to come out while it's cooking, and it's going to make the vegetables kind of like cook in that fat, and then it's really, really good. So I'm just laying my peppers on. Okay. I'm not going to put them all the way down. I'll save some for my salad tomorrow. Everybody in our house likes olives, so I am going to go ahead and crank that a little bit. I am going to go ahead and put olives all the way down because everybody in our house likes olives on their pizza. Okay, especially these really salty Kalamata. If you're looking to where to find them, they're spelled with K, K-A-L-A-M-A-T-A. Okay, Kalamata. Okay, and again, they are a Greek olive. Okay. All right. Put a few more on there. This is a great way to use up leftover veggies in your refrigerator. Okay. If you've got a bunch of stuff maybe cut up from taco night, use that up. Okay. Lots and lots of ways to use pizza as a vehicle for other things. All right. Now, pepperonis. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of lay them in like a zigzag pattern. I don't want the entire top covered in pepperoni. Maybe you are a super meat lover and you just want to put all the meats on there. That's cool. Just know, guys, that the more meats you put on there, the more fats and grease that's going to be released, and it will affect your pizza. So just be aware of that. Okay. So like for perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 pieces for that whole length. I only put on 12 pieces of pepperoni. Okay. All right. So I'm putting my oven mitt on. Always wear your oven mitt when you're putting your hands in your oven. Okay. All right. And because, guys, I have this gas oven with the flame and my pan is really long, I'm actually Not going to put it in there the whole time because obviously it only cooked like 2/3 of it last time. So I'm going to watch it really close. It only needs to go for about 3 or 4 minutes the second time, just so everything gets hot. Okay. When you order pizza, like at a pizza restaurant, it's really only in that pizza oven max for about 7 minutes. Okay. It's really not in there that long. Obviously you're just waiting on other people's pizza to get cooked. That's why it takes so long for yours. So this way too, with the oven door open, I can look in there. I can see what's going on. Keep a close eye on it. Okay. Things I'm looking for, I'm using my eyes. I'm looking for things getting dark. I'm smelling to see if I smell things burning. I'm listening for the sizzle of the meats. Okay. The bubbling of the cheese, anything popping. You have to use all of your senses when you cook. It's not just about following a recipe. You have to really be observant about what's happening, especially when you're using something like a broiler. Okay. All right, so I'm using my senses and I'm seeing and I'm hearing, and I'm really hearing my pepperonis sizzle. You guys can see they've already started to curl up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this pan 180 degrees and start doing the other side as well. Okay, basically this pizza is gonna be done when my cheese is melty. Okay, my pepperonis are all sizzly, and then we're good because everything that's on there can be eaten raw. Okay, the vegetables, pepperoni's already cooked. So really, we're just looking for things to get hot and bubbly and crispy. We're not looking for a specific level of doneness. It's up to you. How done do you like your pizza? Okay. So always be watching. Always be on the lookout.
Mama.
One of my little chefs has joined me.
Mama.
Yes, hi. You ready for pizza? Can you go get some plates? No, that stays open. Can you go get some plates, please, for pizza? One of my little chefs. Go get some plates, please. All right, guys. The cheese is almost where I like it. We're just going to give it another minute. Okay. Again, use your senses, especially with this recipe. You've got to be watching it the whole time. No long distance cooking. This isn't something you put in, set a timer, and walk away. You watch it the whole time. All right. Perfect. All right. It is exactly where I want it. So you guys can see here. All right. My pepperonis are all curled up. My cheese is melty and golden. Okay, nothing is burned. Smells really good though. Okay. Plates. Oh, thank you for the plates. All right, so now, and spoons. I don't know if we need spoons for pizza. So now, from here, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute and kind of let the cheese cool back down a little bit so when I cut it, it doesn't all slide off. Okay, that way it doesn't all slide off. But we are just about ready. So make some room on my cutting board. Okay. Actually, I'll cut this right on here. I take that back. All right, so I'm going to cut it right on my pan. My pan has a special mat on it that makes it safe to cut on. Okay, make sure whatever you're cutting this on is safe. If you need to transfer it to a cutting board or something like that, do what you need to do. Okay, but make sure you're not putting knives on something that you can't cut on. Okay, so I've got my oven mitt, right? My pan has a mat on it that I can cut on. Okay, I'm just going to kind of hold on to the edge here. I'm just going to take my sharp knife, okay, and I just cut straight down, okay. Make sure that you're aware of what your limitations are as far as your tools, okay, and then go from there. So my daughter was so nice to bring us plates. Okay, I'm going to take this piece of French bread pizza. Oh, my pepperonis fell off. Okay, put them back on. And there we've got it. A nice piece of French bread pizza. Okay, all the stuff I just have in the fridge, right? Some leftover veggies. Okay, yummy French bread. It's nice and warm all the way through. All right, and we will have some in class next time I see you. All right, Bye, guys.